Sub Magazine.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Fantastic, sir. How are you doing
Yeah.
today? Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. So, just want to tell everybody who's listening and watching here, I have the great privilege of talking to LeJon Woods, correct? That's the gentleman right there
Sir.
we're looking at. And Bruce Wemple. Am I saying your last name right, Bruce?
That's right. That's right. And I am not driving
Uh,
right now. I am just, the car is parked.
okay, that's good to hear. So let's get this started because we only have a limited amount of time. Gentlemen, as co-writers on this project, right? What is it that is so damn scary about Appalachia? For the love of God.
I always thought it's the lawlessness. I mean, I've driven through there several times, and there's just, you end up driving through certain spots that you're like, if something happened here, if I took a wrong turn, if I, hiking out there, even if I got in the wrong spot and I did get into trouble, there's just nothing to help you out there. And so I think you get into these areas where it's like, it's kind of the Wild West, but scarier because it's, who knows what's out there. So I think that's kind of what we tried to lean into, was like, it's far, far away from kind of any help.
Yeah, yeah. Trees upon trees, darkness upon darkness, and unknown upon unknown. That's the best answer for me.
That's it. And hey, I have to admit to you, both you gentlemen, I'm not a big fan of like folk horror films. I've railed against them in the past. So when I went into this, it kind of presents like a folk horror film, but this is not. I mean, although folk horror kind of plays into it, this movie is about the father-son relationship. And LeJon, you are amazing as this father figure in this. You had
Thanks.
me hooked from the minute I started watching you, and to watch your progression as kind of a, flawed but good dude into this demon ass kicker was just was fantastic. So I'm going to lay on some heavy praise for you there. So
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed that.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So what was it like for you going into this project? And again, you were a co-writer, so you kind of know what you're set yourself up for in this, right? I mean, you kind of, all the things that happen to you, they're out of your head and out of Bruce's head.
Yeah.
How did you go into this? What was your thinking?
Well, as you mentioned, with it being Bruce being both dads, Bruce a new dad himself, and me being, I got a 19-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter. When the approach was, son, a father and son going on a camping trip and everything, and father loses his son, it hits home because that's one of the scariest things for any parent. And then when you mention the location that they're in and no help and just the vulnerability of it all, it just having that genuine love as a parent, as a dad, made it easy to dive into Leon's world and really get immersed into, that sensation of and that scariness of a parent having no clue where his kid is.
Well, and then for it to be this like bizarre supernatural occurrence that,
Yeah.
how would anyone know how to fight that, right? I mean, how do you fight it? Yeah, you just pull on your big boy pants and you get in there and start swinging, right?
You got no other choice because it's the same thing that I know any other parent would do. And same
Yeah.
thing for you, Bruce, anybody else. So that we just put the big boy pants on and get into the woods and make it happen.
So, Bruce, what was the catalyst for the story? Where did it come from? Is this something the two of you worked on for an extended period of time, or what
Yeah.
was the origin?
So LeJon and I have worked together a bunch of times. If you kind of go back through, this is probably our fifth or sixth project together, but never kind of in this capacity. I'm usually, I'm directing something or I'm working on something and he's just acting in it. And we kind of been talking for a little while about doing a project like this where we're collaborating. And I had the idea early on about, a dad going camping, losing his son. There's some kind of culty sort of, and it's just kind of becomes a quest to get his son back. I brought it to LeJon. I hadn't really been fleshed out. This is a few years ago, and he kind of just took a look at it, and he just started spitballing ideas and started bringing different elements into it. And after that, we kind of started fleshing out the world they lived in, the world broadly of what was happening that Leon, the character of Leon, didn't know about. But once we figured that out, and then we kind of take a step back and like, okay, Leon knows nothing. How do we steadily reveal this world to Leon in a way that like he's the hero. He goes through these almost like stages or levels where he kind of gets deeper and deeper and deeper to the underbelly of this Appalachian world. Then it kind of like the story kind of started fleshing itself out really nicely.
It works really well, and I definitely got the feeling that you didn't go into it. A lot of times, some of these projects, it's like, oh, they're just trying to create a new horror icon or a new horror figure that they can build upon with a franchise type thing. And although the Hangman is certainly something that you could potentially do, that didn't appear to be the story you were trying to tell. This isn't about the Hangman. He's there, and he's certainly scary, but this is about the father-son relationship, and I think that's why it resonates as well as it does. So, but with that being said, with the Hangman, if this gets the reception that I feel it certainly deserves and likely will get, could LeJon be making another trip to the forest?
Ooh, listen, yeah, coming back out to the woods.
I would say I'd be down to go back into the woods, but I know how much LeJon got his ass kicked for this movie and in this movie, and trust me, there's no stunt double in there. Every time you see someone getting dragged by the leg through the woods or hung upside down or whatever it is, that's LeJon. So I'd be more curious to see if LeJon was ready to go again if we did.
If there's a petition going around the country and we get enough signatures, we'll make it happen.
It'll happen, huh? So what was the catalyst of the big bad, the Hangman? I mean, this whole idea where he can like basically shoot like ropes and I mean this he's a pretty badass character, he really is. And obviously his origin in the Appalachian folklore as it goes through the story is explained in the film, but as far as creating him, his look and what he was going to be able to do, talk about the catalyst of that. Where did that come from?
That's all Bruce, man.
Yeah, I mean, it just there's a whole bunch of other characters that kind of the inspirations are there, but a lot of it is we're trying to think of like what is the ultimate character out there that LeJon would have to go up against. And for some reason I grew up playing Hangman, and then it wasn't until later in adulthood I kind of started realizing like, oh, that's kind of a messed up game. And I'm like, the more I dug into it, I'm like, that I played it with my mom, honestly, since I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. It was just, we put the dashes for the letters and we do it. But we started realizing that's really creepy, especially the further you dig into it. And like that's a great, all right, where do we go from there? Because once you have the name and kind of everything, like it's a cool name, it's got recognition, people already know it, but like that's not enough. Like what do we do with that's weird? And we're like, all right, it can control ropes, and we're like, that's really fun because there's like a lot of cool deaths we could do with that, a lot of threats we can do, a lot of stuff also that LeJon the character can kind of fight against, whether he's getting hung up or like it's in the trailer, but the Hangman is literally in a barn wrapping its rope around axes and chainsaws and just swinging them everywhere, and he has to dodge them. So there's a lot of fun opportunities there. Yeah, and then once we start, and then like the as far as the design goes, we kind of had an idea, but a lot of that credit goes to our makeup effects artist, who kind of Jess Hedjuk, who kind of took what I was trying to explain to her and made it something way better than I could have imagined.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very, very effective. Who did you get to play the Hangman? I seen him in credits, Scott something or other. I can't remember the last name.
Scott Kallenberger, who we knew going, like once we figured out who it was, I was like, that was gonna be the most thankless job ever, just because we needed him. Usually we've done monster movies before, but usually we're more able to condense the monster coverage into like, okay, we're shooting out in the woods. We kind of already have storyboarded where the monster's supposed to be. So once we do have the makeup, we can kind of compress the monster schedule so we can take advantage, because it's like 5 hours of makeup each time. This was a little different because we had a lot of locations, a lot of very specific locations too. So Scott had to be on each location, and he's 6'5", he's very slender, he fit the build, but going into it, I told him like, it's gonna suck a little bit. You gotta you gotta be in makeup this whole time. And he was game. He was from the get-go, he was game. And yeah, so every location, it was him and our makeup artist Jess became really close each day. getting up early and getting suited up.
So where did you gentlemen actually film this at? What was the location you were at? Did you go to Appalachia to do it?
No, there's a couple more establishing things that are in there, but for the most part, we shot in like central upstate New York was most of our shooting, which very dense for trees, and we shot middle of summer, so it just once the green and the leaves came in and everything, we were just like, this will work, and this is also a lot closer for logistically for a lot of the actors we were bringing in from New York City and stuff like that. So that kind of was how we did that.
It worked well for sure.
Oh yeah.
So LeJon, he had mentioned that you got put through the ringer on this. What's your most horrifying or entertaining story from the set?
You can actually see it in one of them. You can actually see it in the trailer. When I'm getting dragged through the grass and everything. That was hands down one of Bruce's favorite shots. Because I'm actually getting dragged by Bruce. And
it wasn't a super technical. When walking through the technical aspects of that shot, it was basically, LeJon, take the camera, hold it near your stomach. I'm gonna grab your legs and run as fast as I can and drag you all through this tall grass, and we'll see what we get once we're done with it.
That's some Sam Raimi shit there. That's what that is right there.
Oh yeah,
that's some old school Evil Dead stuff. Yeah.
There you go.
So, once the film got done, what was the process as far as getting picked up by Epic and getting this released through their Dread label? Is this your first like major release? Because we're getting a theatrical release, limited theatrical on the 31st, right? And then a VOD on the 4th. Do I have the dates right? I should have wrote them down.
That's right. No, that's right. No, small theatrical window for about a week, and then June 4th it goes out to everyone. We've been working with Epic and Dread for a bit now. This is definitely the biggest movie we've done, and this is the first time I think they financed this before we actually shot, so they're fully behind it from the script stage. So this is the first time. In the past we had shot it. We had a movie called The Tomorrow Job. We shot that, and we were kind of shopping that around. I got picked up by Epic, and that kind of started the relationship with them. And so when we kind of had the Hangman, we pitched the idea to them just because we liked working with them already, and they were on board. And that's kind of and then luckily, again, it was the biggest project we've done. It was the biggest project I think either LeJon and I had kind of gotten into. I mean, we're as far as locations and everything like that, we definitely kind of were pushing the limits of what we could do with the budget, obviously.
Absolutely, it was all worth it. Dave, I can't stress enough, man. As far as I'm so grateful for Epic coming in and picking it up and everything, because they just magnify the work that we put in to make it happen. So I'm so glad that Epic came along.
Yeah, it's great. Well, again, these type of stories, these types of films, the story has to be there in order for them to work. And this has got a very strong story. You gentlemen, for writing this, you did an amazing job. I really, really enjoyed it. So I hope the fans, really latch onto this and give you guys the accolades you so well deserve.
It means a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Thanks again. Again, can't thank you enough for your time today. Again, can't say it enough. 31st limited theatrical. I'm assuming that they could probably go to the Epic website, find out where the film's playing theatrically. I'm assuming, right? Or the Facebook page.
I think it's mainly. Yeah. I think it should be there. I think everything should be on the Epic or Dread website.
Right. Sounds good. And then VOD everywhere. I went and looked. It's already up on the Apple TV Plus. You can't get it yet, but it shows it as an upcoming release. So this is going to be big for you guys. Be ready. Be ready for it. Convention appearances are in your future.
Appreciate it.
Gruesome Magazine.